Well, you can't put the box in front of the... Wow. This is riveting. All right, let's get right into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sex Actually podcast. It's your host, Dave Neal. Co-host Tasha, Courtney.
Hello.
Special guest today, Ben Horton. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
We can't say Horton without saying Horton. Here's a who.
Hey, you stole my joke.
How
I've been waiting all week to say that joke. I know, you hear it every day.
I hear it all the time, and if somebody can't understand my last name, I just say, like the elephant.
Yeah. Is it an elephant? Is that what it's... I just knew the name.
I don't know anything about Horton.
So Horton hears... Who's a who?
Yeah, Horton's the elephant.
Right.
He hears the who. No one else can see the who because they're so tiny, right?
Right.
Elephants have good memory.
And
so
hearing,
how's
I
your
guess.
memory? Is your hearing okay, or is it no
My
good?
hearing's not so great. I'm getting old now, you know.
Are you're born mid-'80s?
83.
Oh, there you go. Nice. So I love this because you're an elder millennial.
No, I'm pretty sure.
83's where millennials start.
Oh, okay.
I've done the...
Yeah, he's right, but I don't really feel like I identify with the millennials.
That's the thing. It's the young millennials that stole... That have the negative connotation to what a millennial is.
Right.
But we are. We're the exact thing because we got AOL Instant Messenger in 7th grade. We spent hours crafting the perfect screen
I think
name.
what they say is like we are the ones who sort of lived like we know what pre-internet is like and we know what post-internet is like. Like we grew up during both of those experiences. So we made that transition versus Gen Z, my brother. He doesn't know pre-internet. You know, he has no clue. He couldn't use like a card catalog at the library. Not that I could either. I don't remember that.
Pretty scary though.
But like he doesn't. How could he would never know like how to write a term paper without the internet. You know, like he wouldn't know like going to the library and
how to cheat the old way.
Yeah. I mean,
what's it called? The Spark Notes. Remember those? There was an industry built on buying the shorter version of the thing.
Or like pre-MapQuest, you know, like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I used to have to memorize directions and then hope I got there the right way. And I'd memorize what I would do if I went the wrong way, too. You know?
Yeah, you need like a compass. And
I always wrote it down.
Did you guys ever have like a piece of paper with your friends' phone numbers in your wallet?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you'd have your top 5 or 10.
I had all everybody's phone numbers memorized.
Well, yeah. I mean, back then we did, but I still had that backup piece of paper.
Yeah,
but like there are so many times that like someone was supposed to pick me up from school and like never showed. You know, like they forgot about me, and you'd have to like go to the office or like if it was after school, like knock on like hope there was a teacher still left after hours and be like, "Can I use your phone? I gotta call my grandma."
I was a master at knowing what my mom's headlights looked like. Because I would always look from like 10 blocks away. Is this the car? And be like a Jeep. No, that's not it. That's that. You know, and then you'd see it coming, and it's the wrong one, and you're just, you know. Okay, so so we've identified as old people then.
Well, I don't know how old you guys are.
I'm 85. Tasha's 89 to 94, depending. No, she's
depending on who's asking. I'm trying to prolong my career.
On many occasions, I've had to bleep out her age. I'm like, do you think people give a shit how old you are or aren't?
No, I mean, it's stupid because it doesn't matter 90% of the time. But every once in a while, you know, people just they want someone who's a certain age.
There's a lot of 30-year-old models in LA that just say that they're in their early 20s.
Even older. I've got a couple girlfriends that are even older. And, like, if you can't tell, you can't tell.
I mean, some of them you can tell. There's some you have friends that their faces are war zones.
What are you talking?
Because they tried to stop the inevitable. I mean, I'd rather look like Helen Mirren. I'm of course she's probably had work done rather than some crazy like pulled back. Yeah. You can see their scars on their neck. You know, we always talk about that when we see it's all journalists these days have the Natalie Morales and
it doesn't. I mean,
Maria Shriver.
TV's gotten too good.
Yeah,
like the quality, like the Ultra HD 4K. You can see every pore, every wrinkle, and it really just. I feel bad for all the
who are they
the
trying
local
to
news
be?
people.
Are they trying to beat the system? You're gonna get old.
I don't think anyone. I think they just want to age gracefully, and they want to they want to be happy with themselves when they look in the mirror. Like if you put on a lot of weight, you go on a diet until there are certain ways to like make yourself feel good about yourself, and one of them is like fillers. I guess
I understand. You know, wanting to get plastic surgery done or a chin lift or something like that for your own personal view of yourself. But I really believe that wrinkles look better than stretching your face back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's why, like they say now, like you're supposed to get your facelift done when you're like 40, so that like it still sags. So you just look, you know,
Tasha,
like
2 more years for you. Like 2 more years. That's the thing. When you turn 28 in modeling years, you go from 25 to 27 to 28 to 47. No, but you're right. So many of Tasha's friends that are models work consistently. There's this weird stigma that you don't work after the age of 18. Sure, the industry's looking for that next thing. They're in the malls, like, you know, Roy Moore just creeping out looking for. That's how Jennifer Lawrence was found. They found her at like 15, right? There are all those stories all the time. But you've probably had people come up to you all the time being like,
yeah, you're absolutely right, in the mall. That's like a thing.
But they have to
like
get you at 16, because if they don't, you know, you're going to, like, no one's asking you now because you're, you know.
Jeez, thanks.
No, I mean that because no one's asking you because you're already. They're going to assume you're represented.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
totally.
Ew, boy.
In LA, you do just assume that somebody's represented. You don't ask if they want to be a model. You ask who their agent is.
Yeah, to try and decide if you can poach them or not.
I had my first experience where an agent found me and was asking me, like, if I need anything. And I looked him up and I was like, no, what that IMDb ranking? And I was like, oh, I'm on that side of it. Cool. It's all about, it's funny because, you know, we always spin this back to dating and relationships, but the ranking in society, whether it's something we see as a number, like your IMDb ranking, for those that don't know, that's like where you rank on this score of how many times people are searching you in the Internet Movie Database, which is completely arbitrary. People buy rankings all the time. But you've got that versus Instagram followers versus are you the VP of a company? Like, everyone knows everyone else's rank in one. We're all kind of...
You know, they've made that like an actual thing, just like the Black Mirror. That it's like a real thing in China now. It's like a rating system, and it's based on, yes, it 100% exists. It's just launched, and like people are freaking out that the implications are like, just, it's scary because they rate you based on like what you post online, like are you active online, your credit score, and like your friends. So if you're associated with someone who has a low score, then that brings your score down too. But it's like where you work, it's like all of these things. It's so like Big Brother.
I can't wait till that bubble crashes and it's whoever has a talent, there's an actual talent in this world, is okay. Who can build a fire? Yeah. Who knows how to repair an Airstream? I mean, imagine the mechanics.
This is the world I'm built for that you're talking about.
Can you repair an Airstream? Because if you can patch a tire, you're on board. You're on team.
I don't know if I can repair an Airstream. I have helped fix up an Airstream.
Oh, good.
You know, being able to actually shoot some. You know, if an EMP goes off and digital photography goes away, 99% of the people that are out there working right now are gone.
Yeah. So, absolutely.
Knowing how to develop film and shoot film and all of that.
We haven't let the audience know. I'm sure they'll know by whatever title we put in this episode. But you're a photographer with beautiful work.
Badass photographer.
Badass. BAP. Badass photographer. BAP on the SAP.
BAP on the SAP.
I beat you to
put
it.
that in my profile now.
Yeah.
Hashtag BAP.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Were you a Dane Cook fan? I don't mean to judge you, but you look like you liked Dane Cook. No, I mean I like Dane Cook. I'm not one of those apologists like fuck Dane Cook. I thought he was. There's a million comics trying to be like him now, but he had BAMF, badass motherfucker. That was like his big.
Oh, I didn't know that's where that came from.
Every comic's looking for a way to sell merchandise and like have a thing, and he had hashtags before hashtag. BAMF was like the first, like one of the first hashtags. Before, you know, that's decades before Twitter existed. Anyway, so we have badass BAP on the SAP. So you're saying that if say the grid goes out, you've got photography skills other than just plugging in an SD card and uploading a girl's butt to the. which is a sub segment. That's a marketplace. We know. How did you get into it all?
Even as a little kid, if somebody asked me what I wanted to be, it was photographer, and then it was photographer and writer, and occasionally I'd throw in something.
Do you write too?
I do, yeah.
If you went to his website, you would have known that. Like,
well,
I did.
I didn't know. See, here's I fangirl because you shoot for NatGeo, which was my dream job as a child. That was exactly what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't know how that could be done because I didn't have a camera or photography skill, you know what I mean? Like we didn't have those things, and I also didn't think I didn't believe in myself at all from the age of 6. I also didn't think I could be a writer.
Let's break into this.
But like that was my dream job, and so I thought about the things that I was good at, and I was always really good in school, and I was a good writer, but I was like, a master procrastinator, even from 4th grade. Like writing, the idea of having to write anything, it was always 4 a.m. the night before.
I think that's when you can be the most creative because you don't judge yourself as much. You just let it out.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I went like the last 5 years saying I was going to write a pilot, and then I had someone else be like, "Yeah, we got to pitch this by next month," and I was like, "Well, let's get going." I guess it's
it lights a fire under your ass.
I mean, so there's got to be a difference from when you're just shooting photography for fun versus what happens when you got to get the sea cow. Or, you know what I mean? The platypus or whatever.
Right.
I saw you had some images of some underwater beasts. Manatees.
Yep.
That's a sea cow, right? A manatee?
I think, I don't quote me on this, but I think the sea cow was a specific thing that was related to the manatee.
Okay.
But
I just like saying sea cow. It's also what you get in Cabo on spring break hey, folks.
Stop.
We'll talk more about that later. So, is there a different pressure when your creativity's being like when there's sort of someone waiting on it?
So I think that the difference between like an Instagram photographer and a photographer that you want to hire for your ad campaign or your story or something like that is the ability to create on demand. So like I have a set number of shots that I know I can get no matter what. I know that if you hire me to shoot this animal or this thing or this can of whatever we're drinking, I can get something that you can use for advertising. After I get those set things, then I move on to saying, hey, let's get creative. Let's do something weird. Let's see what we can bring.
Like, I'm not trying to sell you on this, but, Boone, our basset hound, in his natural environment on the couch could be, I know, you imagine like a photographer waiting hours to get the shot. He's sleeping right now. He's not going to move.
I'm going to give some photographer that's listening to you one of my backup plans right now, because I don't think I need it anymore. But I always thought that if NatGeo and the stuff that I've been shooting in LA didn't work out for me, I'd start a pseudonym and I'd start shooting photography, where I would photograph people's dogs like it was for Vogue or something.
Nice.
Like I would photograph a model.
100% that's a business.
And
people spend like $4 billion a year on their dogs.
Yeah, I knew a dog artist, like she was acrylic or whatever, and people like...
She painted portraits of dogs.
People pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah, you get somebody
I paid $100
Hills.
Yeah. I paid $100 for this stupid shirt for Tasha. I mean, it must have cost at least $70 a t-shirt. She's never worn it once, and it's got Boone
That's not true.
on her
I've definitely
chest,
worn it once.
and it's like Boone. They made Boone as like a cartoon character. All this shit.
I saw this thing the other day that was like a caftan. That was your dog's head. Like it was like pictures of your dog's head all over it. It was like a beaded caftan.
I don't know what
like
a caftan is.
I don't either. I was not long.
It's like a
caftans.
long silk,
nice.
dressy robe.
Beautiful. It's Boone. Yeah, but Boone, we're gonna break Boone into the market of. I have here. So for your dog, what'd you call it?
Photography.
So for photography, I've got a subcategory which I've wanted to do. I don't know if you can shoot in slow motion, but I'd love to have a portrait series of people holding their coffee in their dog in the same hand, and then the dog takes off running. So it's just that moment you ever have.
You mean like walking a dog because you didn't explain.
Yeah, you're walking the dog, and you got the coffee and it's all like the better like you just left that expensive coffee shop, and you have like someone down the road like yell for the dog, and he takes off, and it just. That moment. Wouldn't that be a good series?
This is why you're the comic. I'm thinking of having dogs like lit perfectly.
Yeah, beautiful, every hair.
And I want things that
jumping.
and I want things that go wrong. I just want the worst case scenario.
Explosive coffee.
So you got into. I mean, so it started out as just a casual thing. What was your first camera? Like, did you get a gift or?
My first camera was a hand-me-down from my mom. It was a Nikon, fully manual, one lens. Not much to say about it.
It was like a point and shoot or like a
no, it was
SLR?
SLR, fully manual. It had interchangeable lenses, but I only had the one lens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She'd upgraded to something else and gave me that one. And then I just kind of slowly started upgrading from there.
Isn't that a fun process?
Yeah, and then everything went digital.
And how old were you in this?
Quadrupled. My first camera, I think I was probably 9 or 10.
Wow, surfing and taking pictures at 9 years old.
Yeah.
That is.
What was your Instagram name? Were you like Ben Photos Dogs?
Well, I have 4 Instagrams.
Really?
So, yeah, but
wait, I said Instagram. I meant your AOL. I meant like your first. Did you have an instant messenger?
Oh,
that was
yeah.
like because that was like now an Insta. Oh, I just hit the dog. Speaking of, he's at my feet. I was like, "Where's the dog?" He's waiting for the donut crumbs to drop. Sorry. Yeah, did you like? Was that your identity, or did you have? Because you know how people like to make you one thing. Like whenever my
you were baseball day, right?
My AOL Messenger was baseball DN. So everyone I didn't know in high school, like that wasn't like my friend, would be like, "Have fun in baseball this summer." Like that's like they'd write in your yearbook, and I'm like, you don't know me, you don't know what I'm doing. But I've like became that identity. And
I think mine. I was at the time I was racing mountain bikes, and I was really into downhill. So I think mine was called Stickline, which was my favorite downhill run.
Oh, nice.
Whoa.
So you became like, hey, have fun biking this summer.
Yeah, if you knew what that was, which
I wouldn't know, not at all. I was a Huffy bike. I was a poor kid kind of growing up, like just single mom. So it was Velcro shoes, Huffy bike, which Huffy was the worst bike you could
What
get.
are you talking about? I had a Huffy bike. I thought it was a good bike.
Maybe, well, it must have just been my Huffy. Like the point where like you ride it so hard where like the handlebars like slip, so they're not gripping anything. So like if you just clench, you just roll over. It was in the chain slips and you hit.
I think
the balls.
that's just bad maintenance on your bike.
Yeah.
But yeah, Huffy was. You knew that if somebody was riding a Huffy, they didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, and then I didn't have tread. I didn't have tread on my shoes because they were Payless like Velcro shoes. So in gym class, I would literally be like we'd be like playing dodgeball, and I would be sliding like I was playing on a clay tennis court. And my buddy Liam was like, "Dude, what are you wearing?" It was the first time I ever felt shamed in 6th grade. I was like, "Oh, it's my shoes," but they had like hair in the Velcro. The Velcro barely stuck. Yeah, it wasn't good. So now I like nicer things. I feel like my mom would always buy me 3 sizes bigger. Baseball hats too. She'd buy a baseball hat 3 sizes too big, and she would fold one of the sides and then put a pin in there. Now, of course, you're going to sweat as a kid, so the pin's all rusty. So I had a big rust ring on the side of my Red Sox hat. I was like, "Mom, really? You expect my head to grow like 4 sizes?" Like I'm the Grinch, anyway. So you start to part of what we talk about on the podcast. It started out way back in the day called You Up. That was like a booty call name, which, by the way, now Nikki Glazer, who was a guest on the show, has a Serium XM show called Guess What? You Up, spelled the same way. Whatever, no big deal. The slug for this is still like youup.libsyn or whatever, because you can't change the slug. So we've changed the name several times. Then we went to Sex Actually, because it's like Love Actually, but sex. But what I learned is that some people are afraid to just dive right into that sort of talk. It doesn't look good for brands. Brands ask Tasha, like, "Hey, what's this sex podcast?" Because, there's porn stars out there doing their thing, by all means. But, like, we're so, like, tame. But because it's called Sex Actually, we have boxes of dildos showing up on the doorstep, like sex toys. And we're like, whoa, cool. But also,
my
like...
address is...
we'll just... Yeah, you need a dolphin. These $150 toys that they give us, they're just manufactured perfectly. If my dick looked like a alien, just different things. But so anyway, so we're like, all right, how do I get out of Sex Actually? Because I'm not trying to abandon what I'm doing, but it's it evolves with you, and so we're calling it the sap. And the sap is like the sap of a tree. You know what I mean? It's like that's like the fucking blood juice of the tree. I know it's not, but it's like rooted in this ground. So we have this artist making this beautiful like giving tree, but more psychedelic. You know what I mean? It's going to be badass. But yeah, so it's more about finding out what you love and making not only that work for you, but being okay with that being a career and where it takes you. And so with photography, I mean, you've probably been all over the world.
Yeah.
Did you think that was going to be something you did professionally?
Well, you hoped.
I always did think that, yeah. And I looked younger I looked older when I was a teenager. So people wouldn't ask me where I went to school. They'd ask me what I did, and I'd lie, and I'd say I was a photographer. So
lying is probably one of the best tips you can give somebody.
Yeah.
If they...
well, but in an okay way. Like in a white lie sort of way. Like make them manageable lies.
You want your first lie to be that you're like a wedding photographer, and then you're like, ah! But yeah, you've got to like leap in the net will appear. People have to believe that you can do
it's
it.
That fake it till you make it kind of mindset. Not necessarily completely lying and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm the best at that." But
And what we value, I think in the States it's different than in Europe. But we don't like when you say what you do, people want to know, yeah, but how do you make your money? Like, how do you do? It's like, well, do you want to hear about my Uber job or what makes me happy? Versus there's so many other cultures where it's like, what do you do? Well, I read, I ride mountain bike, I stick bike or whatever you got to do, all these things. But like here we're like, yeah, but like what what is like? It's almost like a way to kind of rank each other. But like, well, do you have a side job, or like, oh, do you do that professionally? It's like, well, what are we talking about here? Like,
I have a game that I play in conversations with people in LA, which is try to see how long I can go without asking them what they do, and seeing how long I can go without answering the same question.
Yeah. Well, I do stand-up comedy till my full-time, waiter job kicks in. I'm just an aspiring waiter at this point. I'm glad I can't do that. I'm just not good. I'd get fired after 2 days. I almost got fired from my first job scooping ice cream because I was like giving it away to girls.
I don't have patience for people, so I could never be a waiter.
Too snarky. Like my form of, because I meet tourists all the time, and inevitably they ask what I do, and I stand up and oh, that's nice. So you're like trying to make it, and they're like, listen, Janet, you're fucking, and I get so mad.
No, but they don't understand. They don't know anything about this world or how it works. So like they're just trying to understand. They're not trying to be shitty about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but it's still like a visceral defense mechanism to be like, no, I'm doing fine. I keep how many times I told me, I'm okay, I'm doing good. But you just got to do what you love, and like podcasting, like I love to talk to people. It became a no-brainer. Like, oh, I should do this. It's a good way to meet people that I might obviously otherwise wouldn't. Now, photography, I'm assuming that introduces. I mean, it's like we all need that thing that says like, well, this is what I do, so we can talk. Like, I'm not just trying to find
a way to relate.
I think you said that when you texted Tasha. You're like, look, I'm not trying to be the guy that Dave makes fun of, which is the best thing you can say because I can't defend it. I'm like, well, he's not trying to be that guy, so now he can be. But I'm not saying he's trying to be that. But it's and I love when people find the podcast through Tasha. Last night we were bowling.
Yeah, this was so cool. We had a listener come up and he was like, hey.
I thought I owed him money when he came up to me. I was like, oh, jeez.
But he probably saw my excellent dancing every time I got a strike or a spare. And
he's like, who's that bitch doing that
wacky girl with all those
Egypt
arms
in the lane?
No, but we had a listener come up to us, and it was like really cool.
We have several thousand people out there, but when you factor in the country's got 350 million, it's kind of still cool when someone is at the same bowling alley as you, and sees you, because we really talk through the mics and don't hear back from most of the audience, and people realize, well, it's my first time writing in, but I've been listening for 200 hours, and it's like, holy shit, man, get on it, write in sexactuallypodcast@gmail.com. Like,
and shout out to Kent. It was nice to meet you.
So Kent was really cool, and play it like it happens all the time, Tasha. Yeah, we had another listener see us in person. We were both like, let's get a photo.
That's cool.
The guy didn't want to get a photo with us. We wanted to get a photo with him. That's when you know you haven't made it, when like you're like, oh, you want my autograph? The guy's like, yeah, not really. But
he's like, no, my friends are waving at me.
We're like, no, we're not done taking a photo. It's going to look perfect. Anyway, we made it about us. Shocker.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know all about me, so I'm perfectly down to hear about you guys.
Yeah.
And our listeners have heard the same stories from us 50 times, and they want to hear about you because we brought you on because you have a cool job and we want to hear about it.
So you reach out and you're like, hey, I've listened.
I think what I just said, because I'd seen that she'd liked a bunch of my photos over time, not like all at once. That's creepy.
Don't do that. That's creepy.
And she's got a beautiful profile picture, so I've looked at it.
I think it's a bad profile picture.
He keeps telling me to change it. I don't know how to change it. It's been there forever. I don't know how to change it.
I'm just saying there are models with thirstier profile photos.
He wants me to just put a picture of my ass on my profile.
No, but like your eyes or something. It's like you in a bush. You're like got a bush behind you and flowers. It's like,
yeah, I was like laying in a bush with yellow
psychedelic
flowers.
Bullshit. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, so by the way, I'm not
psychedelic bullshit. That actually should be like my mantra.
My co-host Tasha Courtney with psychedelic bullshit.
No, I'm okay with that. I like if that's the vibe I'm giving off.
I'm sure everyone who's listening is already tuned in and go, yeah, she did. That is a psychedelic bullshit. So anyway, I'm not grilling you. I don't need like a full deposition. I was just trying to like.
No, that's fine.
No, he said, hey, I listen to the podcast. It's cool stuff, and I was like, hey, thanks. And P.S. You're awesome. P.S. If you're ever in town, like, you can come over.
So you're based in Hollywood. Originally, you're from Oregon, Washington,
Bermuda.
Bermuda.
Yeah.
Well, I was off with that. I don't know why I thought you were Northwest.
And then my family moved from Bermuda to Colorado.
How old were you when you moved to Colorado?
9.
Oh, so you didn't really get the full Bermuda.
I mean, I remember it. I still feel like that's home.
How do you start in Bermuda?
My parents were missionaries.
Whoa.
Is that
Baptist or
here we go. This is going to open a whole. Yep.
Oh,
wow.
How's that for intuition?
How'd you know that?
Yeah, Jehovah hair. I'm kidding. That seemed like the thing. Jehovah's or Mormons, right? I mean, those are the two that are heavily,
that seek out places with lots of poor people who are unhappy so that they can convert them and tell them they'll have a better life.
Give them some hope.
That's why we got you some birthday presents. We had so when did you celebrate your first birthday?
My first real birthday party was last year.
Hey,
hold on.
I grew up not caring about it.
Celebrate events, really. I mean, how does that work? They don't celebrate.
Yeah, they don't celebrate pretty much.
And you also
anything.
don't get blood transfusions, or am I making that up?
Whoa! Don't say you also, because I left a long time ago.
Sorry, they also.
I'm kind of that way with Catholicism. Like I defend it. Because there's a lot of good out there, and with Jehovah's Witness, I'm sure there's a ton of good. It's like Mormons. They're such nice people. But maybe so
they're nice because they want to convert you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but deep
there
down,
were great people that I am still friends with, but I can't say their name because they'll get excommunicated if they know me.
If anyone finds out that they still talk to you.
Yeah.
That's the thing when what separates a cult from just a religion is like, well, is it financially, what is it doing to you? Is it restricting who you are? That's with Catholics. I mean, you can get onto the cult side of any religion.
Oh yeah,
but Catholics are pretty like, see you next Christmas. Like we're pretty. My family's on the religious side, but their intentions are they're so charitable. They're on the side you want someone to be if they're going to be a little religious, not pushy, but they do when we're in town want us to go to church with them, and it's more about. It's less about the sermon and more about, well, if this makes my mom happy, then that's really
people
what
like to be a part of something. I get that. I personally am of the belief that all religions are cults.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just me. I'm not judging anybody who's religious.
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, it's as culty as the next thing, and it's like some people, everyone wants an identity. Some people it's CrossFit, some it's their Christian support group,
or it's like yoga.
Yoga's a big one. Like veganism.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I mean, like, there's...
But I think that people just generally have, like, a want of, like, something bigger than themselves. It helps them to, like, have hope and not be afraid of death or whatever else. It's like they want to know that they're part of a bigger picture. Not just, like, that there's some ant that happened upon this planet and only gets 80 years or whatever. You know, they want to know that they're part of something bigger. And so they find it through whatever.
So you just celebrated your first birthday. Happy first birthday.
Wow.
I mean, I'd had like dinner with friends before, but last year was my first big birthday
party animal. so growing up, did you know the day you were born? Is that something you know the day, you just don't celebrate it?
Right. Yeah.
Which I mean, I could probably break down any religion, be like, well, that's kind of cool, because now it's like, assholes are like with their sparklers and the champagne at the club celebrating their birthday in the 7th night in a row. Like Tasha's friend Tina, this wasn't Tina's fault, but Tina Louise, big millions of followers, not her fault. Every club wanted to pimp her out.
Right.
It's like, oh, we got Tina Louise here. Let's do the bottle thing. It's like and it's like
she literally had like 80 birthdays.
and I love it. I love like Tasha. Tasha is like no fucks given. You can just see her eyes slowly die by the 5th birthday. she's in the Snapchat video like this fucking thing again. But I don't blame Tina. And if you had millions of followers and they had to send you sparklers, you'd say, well, I went to their club and they gave me bottle service so they could pimp out this look that they have.
Yeah.
No one does that for guys. No one's like, oh, Ben's in town. Get out the muffins. Oh, we brought donuts. But
yeah.
So, are your parents still Jehovah's Witness?
No.
How did you get from Bermuda to not Jehovah's Witness in Colorado?
Okay, so this is a very long and deep story, and I'll try to shorten it down.
I'll zoom in on your face here. Now take your time.
I left not because I just wanted to go out in the world and have sex and do drugs and not have to worry about God punishing me for it, right? But I left because my dad was actually somebody who read into the Greek and the Hebrew and the scholar stuff, and he taught me how to do the same thing. And I went through the original text, or at least as original as I could find, in Greek, translated it, found it didn't say what they were saying. our whole idea of what the Bible talks about is so far off, and it's been changed so many times. It's ridiculous.
Kind of like the Constitution. You know what I mean?
There's actually a book called Strong's Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible that is a dictionary of everything that's been changed. Wow. And it's bigger than the Bible.
Because it's been passed down, the game of telephone, to the...
What was that episode we were just listening to of Joe Rogan? We listened to it separately, but you told me to listen to it, and I listened to it. It's the same thing. It was the guy...
I'm not sure, but yeah, the
I'm
idea,
promoting another podcast on.
Yeah,
this
thank
podcast.
you. Yeah, like they need the help. Billions of. Yeah, it's scary. It's like God, and I love the people that are smart. So when you hear the guy goes, "Well, God says kill the fags," and then you got a guy be like, "Well, he also said murder your cheating whore wife or whatever." You know what I mean? There's like I don't know if he said it in that term, but I think he called her a whore in the thing or a prostitute or whatever. Whatever the case, the point is, it's like, what are we doing, folks? It's like we want to read whatever fits our agenda and shovel it into the agenda propaganda machine and spit it out and go, well, but it says this, so it must be true. And it's like, are you a good person? Are you being a good person?
Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine to take all the nice aspects of like love your neighbor and like, be charitable, whatever else. Those are good things. But I think we're getting a little picky when it says like, we can't eat, I don't know, whatever, pork, and we can't, not that I eat pork, and I don't eat pork, but...
The Orthodox Jews with the curl, they do?
Yeah,
it's like, what are
but
we doing?
and you can't wear shirts of mixed fibers and everything.
What's the curl thing for? Because now I sound like...
You're not supposed to shave the hair above your ears.
Good God.
And doesn't it also say stuff about not being flashy about your religion, too? So it's like...
But being humble and not being exclusionary.
Yeah,
would you call yourself...
talked about the Pharisees who would wear this stuff so that everybody would know that they were religious, and then they would talk bad about that. And now it's also telling people to make a sign so everybody knows,
It's contradictory.
Oh, I mean, the whole Bible is contradictory.
But that's what's great about like 12-step programs, which I'm not in any, but I've done Codependence Anonymous, and it's all, they have Narcotics Anonymous, Circumcised Anonymous. They have literally everything. They have everything. Whatever your issue is, they got it. Overeaters. And I think it's beautiful because you promote it from within. You don't, people, they tell you not to talk about it because then you're giving off that religious, like, preach vibe. And what they do is they just work on being better. They have a support group
at themselves,
mm-hmm. And they fall off the wagon
about anybody
and they go
else.
back, and then that's and I think our generation is really searching for ways to improve ourselves, but we're dealing with parents that kind of fucked us up in a way because like it's like my family that can't barely hug you, but they can tell you what to do with your body. You know what I mean? Like it's like so off on but they mean well for the most part. Like so did you leave before your parents did?
I did years before, and then my brother left after me, maybe 3 or 4 years after I did, and then
you left after doing mission work.
Well, I was just drug along because I'm the kid,
But you'd go to the doors.
Oh yeah, I went door to door. I had my presentation. I used to pretend to ring people's doorbells so I wouldn't have to talk to them.
Wow, scandalous!
I know.
So
I got caught a couple times though.
So the family
Really?
would split up. You wouldn't all go like Christmas caroling one to another. You'd all split up.
No, we'd go to we'd all split up. We'd go in pairs. It was kind of the
same
Jehovah's
way.
Witness
No
way
one's
of
home.
dating too. You'd ask the girl if she wanted to go out in service with you.
Oh, I'd like you to service me tonight. I've got some parts that need servicing. If you don't mind. Oh, you can't say that, Jehovah's? Okay, moving along. So you left, and your parents. I'm sure they took that very well.
Not at first. No, I was excommunicated.
I was being sarcastic. I assumed you were. I mean, they're told that the religion's it's bigger than this, so it's like anything else.
Years later, eventually, like I said, my dad did a lot of research for the organization. He drew the cartoons in the magazines, everything, and he went to them and said, "Hey, I found this stuff that proves that we're wrong about a few things, and we just need to change it, make it right." So, and he talked to what they call the governing body, the top people, like the presidents of the company, because it's a company.
Yeah.
And instead of changing
tax, what's it called? Tax-free company. The religion?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Instead of changing it, they excommunicated him as well, so he couldn't.
Wow.
And then your mom?
And then they tried to excommunicate my mom, and she pretty much said, "Go for it if you want, but like what? I'm out anyway."
Yeah. So by gaining his own knowledge, he kind of kind of...
And I think that's why a lot of younger people, like people in our generation, have had a sort of like a backlash against organized religion, because really they're leaving in droves. Young people are not like religiously affiliated. The stats say that. And I think it's because like they realized they don't let you think for yourself. And that was my big thing as well. I'm not active religious. I grew up as like a non-denominational Christian.
I haven't been to church with your family once.
No, but when we were younger, I mean, I took it very seriously. I was like in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and like I don't know, whatever else there were. But like I went to church every Sunday. I was active in youth ministry. Like I took it really seriously. But as I got older, you know, it was the same thing. You point out something that's like contradictory, or people are acting a way that is different from like how you're supposed to act, and you're like, this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Everybody,
but you're also not getting excommunicated for...
Right. No, I just decide I'm not into it.
Don't get me wrong. If they're preaching like hatred towards gays or whatever, that'd be like, okay. But in a lot of ways, a lot of more mainstream churches are becoming more liberal in their mindset, but are more open-minded, whether it's because they feel like they have to or not.
But I think you also, like, besides just being more liberal, you know, you also have to be willing to, like, talk about these things that are contradictory, or talk about, you know, we have to be able to like process it and get through it somehow. Yeah. And like, if somebody asks you a question, instead of just saying, well, shutting it down, like, no, yeah, you know, we don't know, like some of this stuff, it's we want to say it's all written by God, but it was written by men. And like, you know, we need to have this
smart people will take science and say, well, it's not that science contradicts religion. If you look at religion in a way that isn't unexplained, like religion could be unexplained science. If you're not indoctrinated by like this religion's right or wrong, it's like, well, God, this master creator, may or may not exist. It might be a small piece of all of us. If you cut your arm right now, I'd be like, fuck, I would feel that hurt vicariously. We're all connected. Right. Speaking of connected, they just found this male prostitute in Rome just released a dossier with like 50 to 70 priests. Do you hear about this?
Yeah.
And it's, and by all means,
I mean, and we've known the Vatican.
I just wish priests would be allowed to be gay. It would be like such a, you know, because the Vatican's pretty gay already with the outfits they wear, the hats, you know, any gay
decorations.
Yeah. So a straight guy doesn't wear a pointy pontiff hat like that. Straight guys don't pontificate that in front of in a big marble porch in front of everybody. But it's like, oh geez, you know, like I've had friends come out of the closet and I go, oh geez, you really thought I wasn't going to love you still, man? And it's like, oh man, I can't imagine that vibe, that feeling. And it all comes back to, it's like you're not in this little box that this world created, whether it's through religion or even society. Says you can't be this, you can't be that, and it seems like this crazy thing, and then we shatter that box. We go, oh no, I can live in my own area and be totally accepted. I mean, eventually your parents, you know, figured out what you figured out.
Yeah.
They were just deeper into the wormhole than you know? And more invested probably.
Look, one of the things that I think makes religion stick around so much is so many people believe that somebody that they respect knows more and understands more than they do. And that person says to them, you should believe this. That was me as a kid with my dad and mom telling me, oh yeah, you should believe that after you died, God's going to resurrect you in a perfect world. So I did. I never quite understood how or why or where it said that and why I should believe it, but I trusted them. And I think most people who are part of an organized religion are trusting somebody that they think has more understanding than they do. Mm-hmm. Once you start to realize that person...
Instead of trusting themselves to find their own answers.
Yeah. And once you realize that person doesn't understand it either, then you start understanding that it's time to look into science and things that actually are provable.
So you're trying to get girls to service with you. You're going door to door, old school Tinder, as we say, door to door, right?
Yeah.
And then you leave the church. Then your dad, and then your mom, and your brother. So is it the four of you?
Yeah.
Am I missing anyone? Any other family members still in the church you don't talk to, or was that just
no?
So no other extended family was Jehovah's Witness. You were kind of.
And my parents left in, I think it was the late 60s when a lot of people their age who were in college were joining cults and
Scientology.
All these things kind of came out of the 60s. And I think what that was just kids wanting to kind of stand up against their parents' religion. So my parents didn't go too far. They stayed Christian. They didn't turn into a Mooney or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they thought that they were doing the right thing. Their parents stopped talking to them for a while as well.
Is there this like guilt or PTSD? How did you break free from that way of thinking? That guilt that like, oh, I'm not supposed to be having these thoughts or this or that.
I don't have guilt around it, but I definitely think that there's some subconscious things in there that I'm trying to find out what they are.
Yeah.
I think, like, I don't have guilt around sex anymore. I don't have guilt around...
But you did... I mean, I couldn't masturbate without feeling bad afterwards. That's like a thing Yeah. You never felt bad masturbating?
No.
See? I mean, but we had priests tell us that you shouldn't do that. Like, we had people tell us, like...
You know what? I still get, like, self-conscious. Sometimes I'll put on an outfit, and then I have to change before I can go out because I feel weird about it. I wasn't allowed to wear, like, tank tops when I was little and, like, short shorts. And so now I'll, like, put on an outfit that's, like, a tank top and shorts and be like... This is showing too much skin. It's like
you would think a boyfriend would be protective, like, babe, cover up. I'm the opposite. I'm always like, cut the shirt down a little bit or let the ass hang out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's like, I got like these.
Or like he'll tell me to put on like a crop top and I'm like, I can't wear this. Can't go out in public.
But it's like you get to the age where your body's still rocking it and you're not 18 anymore. It's like, flaunt that shit. I love when
I think we should all be like exposed to being nudists or something for a while because maybe it's because of the job that I've had and the situations that I've been in, but I don't think anybody should be ashamed of being naked.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I mean...
I think I would really dig a nudist colony for like a month.
Yeah,
except I wouldn't want to sit anywhere.
So I just had, for my other Instagram, I just had a job in Mexico where I went with this somewhat famous nude model and did a week-long shoot with her at this hotel. And basically, the reason she's famous for being nude in photos is because she's just naked all the time. And like walking around the hotel, she would have gone to dinner. We're going to
need to investigate this story.
Yeah, I know. I want to see. So was it like a nude hotel?
No.
And she was just walking around naked and like nobody else ever got weird about it? Or
honestly, people would be, even people that weren't part of the hotel would just kind of walk along. All of a sudden you'd see the look in their eyes like there's a naked lady. But she pulled it off. She wore her nudity so well that within seconds you could see people just like, okay, that's normal.
Wow. I wonder how you like get that transition because like I'm always naked at home by myself, but like even on a nude beach, I've never had that experience. Even on a nude beach, I know I would be weird about it. Well, and I've like gotten naked in nature for photos, but like in a very private setting where no one's happening upon us. You know what I mean? And so that's very comfortable. But I can't imagine finding that feeling of being so comfortable in my own skin that like I make everyone else comfortable with my nudity too.
We should do a nude podcast.
So I don't want this to sound too much like the typical model and photographer photo shoot.
Please make it
weird. Yeah. But like by the end of the shoot, I was naked too. Because it was just like, we're all the way out here in the middle of nowhere.
And it's hot.
Like
and I would rather not have my shorts on.
Yeah, I'd rather go swim in the ocean without clothes on. Like, why do we actually wear pants in the ocean? Shorts. I mean, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't help with buoyancy. You know, like I did an underwater photo shoot or like a video shoot for a commercial many years ago where I was like, underwater, and it was in a pool, a deep pool, obviously, but I was wearing a full gown, and like I nearly drowned every take. I really did. It was so heavy. It probably weighed 300 pounds. It was a full gown, soaking wet, and it was so scary. But like shorts are the same way. Like we should just be naked in the water.
I did make the mistake of body surfing some good sized waves naked though, and I would not recommend that.
That's how you exfoliate, as they call it. That Jewish ceremony happens.
Smacked around.
But like, I mean, you got to be. What's the relationship with the models? Sometimes it's business, but it's got to lend towards dating them or
I mean, I don't go to bars. I don't really go out. I'm not really around a lot, so I do end up meeting people through work.
And then you have common interests that way.
Yeah.
You share your interests. You like, and that makes sense.
The honest truth is you get to go out and spend time with a person. You talk to them all day. You typically models
You
talk about their
need
boyfriends if they have them.
that comfortability too. Like it is, we've talked about this many times, that it's like sort of an intimate, not always, but like it's an intimate experience, like being captured on camera. Like there, you want to capture vulnerability, you want to capture honesty. And so when you get the best work is when you're working with a photographer that you can also be like honest and vulnerable with.
And
like,
it's the photographer's job to know that look that the model is giving the camera is not going to the photographer, but it's going to the camera. And I think this is one of the reasons why, like, I worked in fashion for a long time here in LA, and I've recently decided I don't really want to do it anymore. But it's one of the reasons why I worked so much was because I was the photographer that didn't hit on the model. I was the photographer. I never asked people to take their clothes off. Lately, that's what people have been asking me to shoot. And I think it's because people know that they can trust me, and then their friends.
But that kind of like relates back to you were saying knocking on doors, and you were kind of like fake ringing the doorbell, like not wanting to bother people, not wanting to be the guy that like is trying to fuck through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that still could be a byproduct.
We're here to do a job and keep it professional.
That's how it is in any industry. I think deep down, man, we need whatever that skill set is that gets us laid. I mean, that's the basic thing is like procreation, right? Like our genes. It's like, what do we do? And if you're at the top of your game, no matter what it is, you're going to be an attractive person, whether it's, being the best Zamboni driver in the world. Like you're gonna, whatever it is, as long as you're doing it well and have a passion towards that. I mean, you could be the best carpenter, this guy who just like makes love to the desk as he sands it. It's like, that's fucking cool when you care about that.
I think I read something really similar somewhere. Like, if you can't find somebody, find what you're good at, where you're going to stand out. The people in that community are going to see you as this awesome person.
So I tell guys that all the
think
time.
a lot of people in this modern age are like missing that passion.
Yeah.
They're missing that passion. We go to our 9-to-5 crappy jobs and we're unhappy and we just sort of float through life. And so when you see someone who like really has that spark, that fire, that thing that makes them come alive, it's like, whoa.
That's attractive.
How does somebody find that? Someone's listening and they go, yeah, you're a good-looking dude who likes photography. Of course you're going to meet babes. How does a guy go from nothing, doesn't know what his passion is, maybe addicted to porn, like a good portion of people are, or addicted to their phones, going from being a content consumer to a creator who can be independent?
I don't think it has to be content that you're creating. I mean, everybody's into something. I don't care if you're into video games, stand out there. And somebody who is also into video games is probably going to see that. If you ever meet up with other people who are into video games.
Do guys care as much? Do you think guys care as much about the girl's passion? Because they say men and women are equal. Yes, but we're not the same. I think women really want a guy. Right?
Typically, they don't. I think most guys just see the package and think, I want to be associated with that. I want how she looks next to me. Most guys don't think very deep.
Like, I want Tasha I want her to have, and she has passions, but I want her to have passions for her own happiness, not so it's like some rank where I'm like, well, I got the girl who's on the top of that. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's just the two of us agreeing, and this guy's like, no, but don't get me wrong, I think it's sexy when a woman is like owning what she does, by all means, versus being like, well, security and independence and drive, I think are attractive no matter what, but women will look at a guy and be like, I like hockey players, I will go after this.
Right.
They're very skilled at, you know what I mean?
I think you guys are totally wrong. I think that we just like know what it is that we can acknowledge that we are looking for somebody who is passionate about their thing, whatever that thing may be, where you guys just don't even think of us and
so
how we process. Like, we process in like a very like...
Their girls are precise with what they like. And that's why there's names for them. The cleat chasers. There's
that's not
chuckle
real.
fuckers.
None of this is real.
They're like, well, I like a guy who makes me laugh. I'm going to go to a comedy club. Do comics get laid by chicks that like just comics? I think Jeff Ross is chubby, bald, Jewish guy.
Do you think that this is a thing? I think that girls are just looking for someone who like treats them nice, is caring, and is compassionate, and is passionate about their work, and has good prospects. Like, I think
Would you date a guy who's in sales?
I don't know. Maybe
if I'm selling flanges, and
what
I'm
is
the
a
best.
flange?
It doesn't matter. I'm the best flange salesman in the world. And you got to go to conferences with me so I can get trophies for the flanges I've sold. Really?
I think that we would be supportive of you doing
then
whatever.
you got to do brunch with all your girls. And how's Dave's flange business? And a piece of you dies every time. I'm just saying. I'm not saying you have to go after this specific type of guy, but a guy who pursues his own path and who's like, and it doesn't mean, and maybe selling maybe invented the best flange. I put a new flinkle on the flange.
But does the flange guy end up getting married one day, having kids, having a girlfriend, whatever? Yeah, he does.
He does.
So
Yeah.
somebody's happy with that.
That's what I'm saying.
But we live in LA.
Yeah, it's true. We are in a place where flanges aren't the desirable thing.
Girls that are as beautiful as
Get
her.
off the couch.
Boone's on the couch. Boone doesn't care what we do as long as we feed him.
Sauntering over.
Yeah,
Girls
Tasha,
that are as beautiful as her have options, and
Right.
they know that, right? So you know that you don't have to date the flange guy. You can.
Yeah.
date
That's what
the
she's saying
comic.
right now. I don't have to date the comic either.
I'm like thinking, hey, Dave.
Boy, I tell you what, if she only believed in me the level I do, she'd be a happy person.
Yeah, I was just on a trip with one of my best friends, and we're strictly platonic. But she's this beautiful 6 foot tall girl, and we were having this conversation in the car because everybody thought we were going to date after I broke up with my last girlfriend, and same thing when she broke up with her last boyfriend. And we were saying, in this world where you have all these options, you don't really have to date even a good option. But, 20, 30 years ago, getting along as well as we do probably would have happened because we're not looking out and saying, oh, but I can just be friends with this girl.
Why are you just friends?
Well, we know that we would be terrible together. That's
Why?
Why? Just like difference in like personality
difference
or
in
priorities.
personality. Like, we make really good friends, for sure, because we both like to go do adventurous things and that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I think the personalities would just not be good
I think we
together.
make better friends than necessarily lovers because we do have to work on that.
Yeah.
But it's something you just have to work on.
Yeah.
And it's like if one outweighs the other, but by all means, don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, if the shit happens, you might go, oh, geez, we're friends. We might as well. But I've got girls that I'm friends with, and like, it's like, yeah, I can't tell people enough. Like, trust me, that's in that compartment.
Yeah.
But so I get what you're saying. It's not just like, you're not on a desert island. Like, well, I guess we're friends and we're both here. We might as well do this. It's like, yeah, no, like that's. But could you ever imagine it progressing one day?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think it's also just about your priorities. Like for some people, like there's something about your guys' priorities that are not aligned.
Right.
But like for us, I think that it is a huge testament to us that we like always choose to make it work.
Right.
And that's
Well, boy,
really important to me.
I mean, it's true. I've told friends that where I go, look, I've said before. I remember places, we have coffee shops we've gone to early on where I'm like, if I don't get what I think I need to get out of this conversation, and I'm not a hardline guy.
Right.
My thing is like, I'll take 99% of the blame, but you got to take one. You got to be somewhere on this
Right.
spectrum somewhere, because I got to go back to my people, and be like, yeah, well, she apologized a bit. Versus, I can't go into that coffee shop and her being like, fuck you. Like, okay, cool, we're good.
I try to operate under the assumption that both parties are right in some way and both parties are wrong.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, she's just absorbing I don't have to say it. It's not. We're not in law where I said this. It's like, yeah, that doesn't make her happy.
Right.
If she heard it this way, then I go, sorry if my tone, and even then I can't be like if your tone, sorry, and then I just like a beaten dog. Sorry that my tone was bad. I will never raise my voice. Why are you talking like that? I don't know what else to do.
So I have a question for you guys after these podcasts, because I've listened and you guys are pretty open about stuff that most couples would probably fight about afterwards. Has anything ever come up on these podcasts where
great question.
afterwards you're like, we need to talk about
Just your age.
I'm like, bleep that out.
No, but her
I
mom, I posted a photo as the thumbnail for a podcast recently, and her mom saw the photo, and it's like Tasha naked on a horse with another girl. Beautiful photo.
It's a beautiful photo. That's why I'm like cool with it.
Her mom posted, I was like, is this your
She
mom?
did the emoji of like that, like the wide-eyed.
And I was like, and she's got a private account. I'm like, what are you doing? But
She's got 0 photos posted.
we've had, parents, they just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's true. Like, there's
I
another.
blocked my mom from one of my Instagram accounts.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes you have to. I mean, she waited so long to get a Facebook and then even like a year longer to get an Instagram. And boy, when she got the Instagram, I was like, no, you don't want to
so
do
are
this.
you friends with her? on Instagram.
She follows me.
I was like, I think her Instagram
I don't
name
follow
was,
her. She has not posted a single photo, so it's not.
She's
like
an
I'm
egg.
missing
She's
anything.
nothing.
My
But
mom hasn't either. Not a single photo. She's just on there liking pictures. That's it.
But that's the thing. They're on Facebook, and it says, "Well, if you're on Facebook, you should follow this person." Next thing you know, I'm like, now I have to censor my podcast. Which, by the way, like my mom's written me letters, and she means so well. But she's like, she's written me letters, and I open the letter after we get back from a family vacation. I'm all excited, and it's almost got me in tears because it's her not approving.
Right.
I'm like, we have divorcees and people's marriages that were saved, and not to say we're doing the good work, but we're being honest, and we have people that really relate to that. And then here I am, and my own mom doesn't know what we're doing. It's like, you know what? They just don't get it. It's fine, whatever.
And she's probably never listened to an episode. She just knows that, like, it's called Sex Actually, and someone told her that you talked about a dildo. You know what I mean? Like,
but after Weinstein, she called me. She's like, with today's climate, it's like, well, with today's climate, we shouldn't talk about sex. We should do everything to talk about sex.
Yeah,
so we're not jerking off in the plants.
We need to like stop with like the secrecy and like the behind closed doors and
it's not about sex. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's a Trojan horse. It's not about sex. It's about being authentic and finding someone who likes that versus like being someone that you're not. It's like all the counterproductive ways. It's like, golfers, they love the new thing that can make them golf better. We're always looking for this new secret to getting laid and this and that and weight loss. Everything's built around this vanity of this happy thing. And you have to just remember, life's not perfect. Even in a great relationship, half the time you're just trying to find new ways to dump the body. You know what I mean? And you just have to realize, like, well, and I always go back to this with Tasha, where I'm like, look, yeah, you annoy the shit out of me sometimes. You think I like to go walk the dog 4 times in a row? But no, I can't be near you sometimes. But I want you there for when shit goes down, for the end of the world ride. Yeah. And that's what, that's where we're at.
We keep putting up with each other.
Just waiting for the fucking big earthquake to hit.
I'll tell you what, I've been in relationships where, I loved them completely, but when I would get home, I would sit in my car for 45 minutes to an hour just to have some alone time before walking in the door.
And that's okay.
I'm more of an introvert. Introverts will always tell you that.
Yeah.
But
aren't we all? Don't we all need that?
You're not.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I had a beer by myself at the bowling alley before everyone got there last night. And it was like, oh, I'm sorry we're late. And I'm like, this is the best moment of my week.
See, I wouldn't have been in the bowling alley.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me too. Like I've tried to get out of it like 4 times before I just decided to go. But I also knew that I would get some alone time today. Mm-hmm. And so I knew, and I had alone time yesterday. So, but I'm very much a person that is so overstimulated, and it was full blown. Actually, it wasn't terrible, but a lot of times when we go to parties and stuff, it's everything is a nightmare before I walk out the door.
We got the family next to us with 15 kids just drifting into our lane. Everything. I'm going to hit a kid with a bowling ball. It's going to be my fault. The kid's black. Nothing against his race, but now I'm the white guy who killed a black kid with a bowling ball to the head. I got to think about these things, folks. Yeah. But anyway, so Tasha, I know she's got an absolute mess when it comes to getting out the door. A mess. She's like, yeah, well, I have to leave in 10 minutes. My hair's still wet, and I'm on the other side of the phone being like, oh, fuck. I'm glad I'm not there right now. She is, the hair's wet. Holy shit. I want to develop something that dries her hair in 1 minute. She just walks in, and it just comes out, just poof, dried. For you and the dog.
That actually sounds like the best invention. My arms get so tired. I have way too much hair.
But the second I learned that that's part of your thing, I can be out the door in 3 minutes, regardless of the situation. Yeah. It used to always be, what time do I have to be at work? What time do I have to leave for work? All right, I'll wake up half an hour beforehand. What time is Ben coming over? 9? Okay, we're up at 7.
That's what I do, too.
Dawn.
I like to have an hour of waking up time.
Of just chill.
Chill, where I can drink my coffee in bed. I can do whatever. Right.
It's better,
and I need to have fully looked at every angle of how the day is going to go. So if he tells me 30 minutes before, hey, so-and-so just said blah, 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 do you want to go do this thing? Fuck no.
Crisis mode.
Because it means that we have to leave right now, and I haven't processed how it's going to go, and I haven't evaluated my outfit choice. And and all of this stuff sounds really stupid, but it's all of these things feel so overwhelming.
Well, there's got to be just this point where okay with whichever direction it goes. And it's I liken it to snowboarding down a hill or driving a car. Like, you're driving way too fast to be able to stop immediately, right? But you're driving just fast enough where you could probably avoid any problems. Yeah. And life is the same way.
Which is a homeless guy with a shopping cart.
Wow, this is such a good analogy.
Yeah, driving down the road, though, in LA, there's obstacles.
There are obstacles. A lot. You're doing a lot of swerving.
Kids shitting into a bag.
If somebody runs out from the side, you're going to hit them, most likely. But you evaluate those chances and you go fast enough where you can get where you're going.
You risk assess pretty much. Yeah. But so Tasha, you mentioned like the crisis modes of when different things come up. And I mean, have you ever gotten out of your shell and thought about how I deal with your crisis modes?
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
I think you do a good job most of the time. Sometimes, but it's also like, this is what it's about, right? Me being considerate of you and you being considerate of me. So you've done a great job as we've gone along of like sort of putting yourself in my shoes and kind of accommodating. That was a compliment. Ding. You're welcome.
The compliment parade of
but of like knowing that like, okay, this thing just came up and we're going to talk through it and we're going to decide, and you're going to be like accommodating, like, what can I do to help you? Can I walk the dog? Can I do blah, blah, blah? And I'm going to do like hide my crazy and just try to manage everything else.
That was trying to hide your crazy the last 4 years? That was trying... Okay, no, I
Baby
understand.
Steps.
But don't hide it, because you can't hide it forever, and eventually he's going to have to decide whether or not
he can deal with crazy.
Bro, day one, I go, this motherfucker just did that? I mean, we had we couldn't put a surfboard on the roof. We could not...
Oh, we had the biggest fight.
We couldn't pitch a tent.
Oh my God, yeah, we did. Those were probably like our two biggest, like we can't work together.
Tasha can't. Well, I think I can work together with people, but I think you need to kind of be head dog, so I know how to fall in a rank, because it's like, look, I do stand up. I get complete control over my stage and this and that. I can be home and have to deal with Tasha wanting me to put the laundry in this area because whatever it is. I go, okay. If I can rationalize why you want to make that decision, it's like, all right, she means well, but it's like that. What my standards were lower, so like I'm now living up to a higher standard, of what an introvert, of someone who's a highly sensitive person, self prescribed. I haven't. You bought the book, not me. Didn't read it. She's a highly sensitive. She bought a book called Highly Sensitive Person, and then she's like, "Fuck this author."
Don't say it like roll your eyes at me. We realize that maybe I'm a little sensitive of a person.
But
okay.
it's okay too, because it's sensitive to light, sound. I mean, it's like it's different things. It's a real tough thing for you to get through rush hour traffic. And then sometimes here's what happens is like I'll come home late at night, or not late at night, but I'll come home from a set. I'm all excited. I'm going to tell her about this one thing I did, blah, blah, blah. And she's on the couch, and I'll walk in the door, and she doesn't look up from her phone. And I go, what the fuck, Tasha? Like, look up at me. The dog's barking. Like, I'm here. And I get so fucking mad.
I always look up from my phone.
No, but it's like you've got this environment, and I just burst into it like,
no, I think that's the thing, is that you bring in like a big ball of energy that maybe I wasn't ready for.
Yeah, so we need like this decompression chamber. That should also be
like
where you.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is something I've learned about myself as an introvert. Like, I like to be with somebody who I can be 15 feet away from, doing my own thing. They're doing their own thing, but we both know that we're bonding.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to feel like we are interacting, like by talking, by actually interacting.
Yeah, you're like very comfortable with silence and just like occupying the same space together.
But knowing that that's also a way of bonding. That's something I've realized in the last few months, actually, is just that being near the right person feels like
good. It's therapeutic.
You're like you're both there to like protect each other. It's like we're not living in the Serengeti, but it's that vibe where like you're washing the clothes by the river, and I'm sharpening my stick over here, and we have each other's back. Yeah. But we're not talking to each other. I know. Do you see this thing on Reddit? How many times you've sent each other messages from across the room? Like Tasha, like every fucking time she's in the bathroom, she sends me like a Facebook video, and I'm like, stop Facebooking on the shitter.
Once he left his air, what's it called?
Great.
The AirPlay on the TV because
mode.
We had been watching something like, I don't know what, and he went to the bathroom and I watched him scroll through Facebook on the TV from in
one
here.
comment thread the whole time, and I was thinking, there could have been so many, things that could have got me in trouble that I was looking at. Half the time I'm on Instagram, you just hit the button and it just feeds you tits and asses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like I don't know if this is an addiction and if I should not be looking at so many tits and asses.
I got rid of a lot of the tits and asses.
And what was there?
This was an experiment in my last relationship. I was dating a girl who, by most accounts, was beautiful, right? She was a really big model, still does it, very successful. Yeah. And I was happy with her, right? But then I'm on Instagram seeing all these like perfect people and amazing asses, which is,
you're just using I said it first.
And half the time, like, I knew these people personally, and I know that they don't look that good. But then I'm looking at it thinking, God, I wish my girlfriend looked like that.
Yes.
And realizing, like, this girl was a Victoria's Secret model that I was dating. And I'm looking at it thinking, why am I not happy with what I have?
Yeah.
So I erased a lot of that, and I noticed I was just able to focus more on being happy with what I had.
Yeah.
I think we don't realize like how just like dumb our brains are. Like how easy no, really. Like we think of ourselves as like really smart people and we're like totally in control of our cell phones. We're not. We're not. We're like people become addicted to Facebook. People become addicted to Instagram. Mm-hmm. Everything is designed to be addicted.
It's
like
funny that we're smart enough to know it, but we still pick it up. The other day I was like on the bed or something, and I was like, babe, I think I'm in a worse mood right now because I'm just flipping through.
And you end up like, I know for me, I definitely have taken a lot of, like the past couple years, I really just let Instagram go because it was not doing anything for me except making me feel insecure about the performance of every photo. Like, oh, this one's not going to perform. It's not getting enough likes, or taking it personally that like people, I know they're just not seeing it, but like taking it personally that like people don't like this version of me, this real life version of me.
Do you have to quit it completely, or can you make it work for you?
You make it work for you, but it takes some time. I think the whole thing is that like, you have to like sort of come to terms with like that it's not that it makes you feel this way and it's not your fault and it's just the way it's designed, and like learn to manage. Like if Facebook is making me feel shitty today, then I'm going to turn off my phone.
Well, sometimes the easiest way to know that that's the case is to look at your own Instagram feed and look at what people say to you, right? I get messages from people all the time like, oh, you're living the best life. Like, I wish my life was like yours. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm working my ass off. Like, for these photos that make it look like I'm just out having fun, I'm working my ass off.
Sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I had an ex-girlfriend that went on a trip with me. She thought it was just going to be sex in natural places and camping. And
you were dating at the time.
Yeah. And she realized that this wasn't just going out.
Playtime. Yeah.
It was a lot of work. And hey, guess what? We stink. We're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, we're sleeping in sleeping bags.
We're not batting mosquitoes left and right.
Yeah. We're not going to be doing this like TV version of what being in nature is like.
Yeah.
And
was she okay with it? Just come to terms?
Oh, it was not a fun trip. And it was a month-long road trip.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. Was that the deal? Was that seal the deal for you guys?
It did for me, but we still dated for another year.
Oh, my God.
So how long did
Why'd you string her along? What a waste of her time.
She moved in without asking. And then
red flag. That's like Dave. I've been trying to kick him out for 4 years.
So
really,
keep sticking around.
Get the new keys, man.
I had another job come up where I was gone for like a week, and I had to go with a professional paddleboarder. We were going to go paddleboard down this river in Utah,
as you do.
And the girl calls me up and she's like, you're just having so much fun and you won't even text me while you're doing this. And, you're with this girl.
And you're like, you know what this is like. You know this isn't fun. We literally just did this and you had a horrible time.
Yeah,
this shit isn't fun.
I didn't even have sex with my girlfriend for a week at a time or more sometimes. What makes you think I'm with this girl who's not my girlfriend?
The paddleboarder was a girl.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. To take the women's side, I think women struggle. And I know by starting off this way, every woman listening is like, yeah, Dave, what do we struggle with? Tell us, Dave. I'm going to tell you. So listen there, Nancy, because you don't know what you struggle with. That's why it's a struggle. Okay there, Rebecca? You're struggling with the fact that you want a guy who's driven and has his own thing, but you can't control that, and you can't replace that. You know what I mean? And when you do something you love, I had a gig in Catalina, babe. That was a real tough week for you. That was a real tough 4 days for you. Because I'm working next to some of my favorite country music artists and in passing out hot dogs with Snoop Dogg.
No, it was fun.
Passing out
And
hot
I was
dogs
jealous.
with Snoop.
You were super jealous.
I was super jealous because it was also in Catalina, so I could have just gone and I could have just stayed at the house with you guys.
Right,
but
you also know that it
would have been working the whole time. Yeah.
Not to relive it, but that was a very tough experience for both of us to figure that out.
But don't you think that was really the first time that we had that experience and we've really gotten a handle on it? I mean, but you can't say that this is just a woman's problem because think about like every trip that I've taken too. That's also been a problem for you.
Yeah, you're right. I've had to deal with Tasha going out of the country and have to be like, or like, you know, go to a cool gun range in Texas and we're all having s'mores by the campfire, and I could be like, babe, I hope it's fun. I'm going to go here and walk the dog now. Enjoy. But it's like, it's like anything. You love somebody, you got to trust them. And I don't think my issue was ever trust necessarily, other than knowing, like, it's like, Tasha, you're not going to go, no offense, Ben, shoot naked photos together. Look, it ain't going to happen. I'm going to go find a chick that's not going to, you know what I mean? So everyone makes their choices to go, well, you can certainly do that. I'll never tell you not to do something, but you got to know when I'm doing stand-up at some shit college in Des Moines and the teacher's assistant wants to suck some comedian's dick, then I'm going to be like, well, she's naked swimming. And it's like this kind of like nuclear arms thing.
Wait, what? Did you just say that you're...
I can't book a gig in Iowa, so it's not happening. But the point is that like it's this mutually assured destruction, mutually assured destruction. But what we're destroying is the relationship. Saying that if you do something that's on a no-fly zone, it's like neither one of us is going to put up with that shit from the other person.
Yeah.
Not to say like don't have fun and do whatever. By all means.
This is why I'm not dating anybody right now. I just know that there's basically nobody out there that can put up with my life.
Yeah. I don't necessarily believe that.
My last girlfriend, I thought...
He's like, and I'll cite examples.
Exhibit A.
By the way, before we get into that, do you have your phone on you? Can you just check the time? Because I can't see the time on my phone, and we're doing good. Okay, perfect. Keep going.
Okay.
And if you have to use the bathroom or anything, just go for it, but we'll go for a little bit while longer.
Okay. This last girlfriend, I thought for sure she was the perfect girl for me. She had her own thing. She was a photographer, adventurer, was a big-time model, made her own money, had her own passions, right? We started the relationship out with no boundaries. Like, I could go on overnight photo shoots with a girl. Like, things like that. She could go hang out with her billionaire friends. Totally fine. But then as the relationship progressed and there became insecurity
strengthening of the oxytocin bond, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. Just all of a sudden things that were totally okay were suddenly not okay at all.
I think, but the reason is that...
I don't think they were ever okay. I think she was faking it.
Well, yeah, but when the stakes are low, when it's a new relationship and there's nothing invested, when the stakes are low, it's easy to just be like, well, whatever, But as you start to feel more connected, yes, oxytocin, you want to make sure that the other person feels the same way too. So like that bond, like you feel the bond getting stronger, and you feel yourself being more and more like stuck,
right?
And you want to make sure that the other person feels stuck with you and wants to be stuck with you.
I think a couple of things apply here. One is that most of my friends are girls, so I'm really good at having just friendships with girls. So I see that friendship. I know there's nothing going on there, but the person I'm in a relationship doesn't always feel that, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is
women aren't built to be able to compete with other women. They're not built to compete with a guy's having a girl best friend. It's very tough for them.
But so are guys. I've always been the person who has lots of guy friends. My whole life, I've always had lots of guy friends, and it's very easy for me to have platonic relationships with guys. That is no fly for you. I've let all my Los Angeles guy friends just go.
It's the exact opposite. It's no fly for them. They don't want to be your friend. I didn't tell them not to contact you. I didn't say,
but there are
that?
Definitely people that still,
These thirsty motherfuckers realized you weren't going to be feeding them the LaCroix they deserved. They weren't going to have their parts serviced by your,
That was never on the table, though.
They all fell off the table. So she goes, but my friend Eric or whatever. I'm like, where's Eric now?
No, Eric wanted in my pants, but the other ones are...
But don't make it look like I'm the one who's like, don't hang out. Go, by all means.
No, but it's about being respectful. I know that you would have a hard time with it, and so I want to be respectful of you and your feelings and your insecurities, and I want to make you feel secure and comfortable in our relationship. That's being respectful.
I mean, yes, But like when you go to Miami with Tina Louise, I'm cool with that. And I know that you're going with chicks, and I know guys are going to talk to you folks. But then I got to see a Snapchat, and it's like, well, you're playing beer pong with the dude, or he's teaching you guys magic. And I'm like, fuck the magician.
What are you talking about?
There's some dude doing magic to you guys on your Snapchat. And it's not one of those things.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's there. It's in the cloud. But my point is that, like, I never brought it up because I'm like, okay, there's a dude doing magic to her. Fine. But it doesn't mean it didn't irk me to the point where I was like, fuck that dude. But guys are always going to be that. I'm not like, fuck Ben. But when there's a dude who's like, oh, man, I told Tasha yesterday, I was like, oh, dude, this guy's cool. I was like, I looked at your thing. I was like, this fucking guy's cool. I was like, better be short. But it's like, what am I going to do? Hate on a guy that's like every guy that I want to be my friends? You know what I mean? And it's like some of my best friends, Joey, some of these guys I hated till they were in my tribe.
Yeah.
And I'm not super jealous. I didn't hate them, but I was like, fucking asshole. Then he became my asshole. And I'm like, oh, that's my boy. You know what I mean? Because it's like he was not sort of competition so much as like one of my guys. But I think you just have that sort of thing in relationships where the flag goes up and go, is this person trying to replace me? And I've had to contact models to be on this show, and I'm like the one talking to Lo right on text. And I'm like, do you get jealous at all if I'm coercing, with a...
I don't start out with any jealousy in relationships. I don't start out with any trust issues. You can only make that stuff happen. Yeah. I only start getting jealous when the other person is jealous of me, because I start wondering why they're jealous. Are they wondering what they would do if they were in the same situation as me?
Yeah, because then you are acknowledging that there is temptation.
Right. And then I also think that some people quantify love by jealousy. So, like, if you're
it's like a sort of toxic thing that our society has, like, ingrained in us since we were little. It's a theme in every movie.
It's very dangerous.
Right?
Yeah, it's a sin. I mean, it's very dangerous.
He only loves me if he gets jealous, right? I've dated those people, too. And it's just, since I wasn't the jealous type, they would keep doing things to try to make me jealous.
It can drive you insane.
This is a funny story. I'll keep it short, but... It kind of opens up something that I might get criticized for as well. I had a girlfriend who wanted me to think she was cheating on me with this photographer. And
why?
She'd go do nude shoots with it because she was one of those people that quantified love by jealousy.
She was just pushing the boundaries, trying to see how much you loved her. She wanted to see your reaction.
Yeah, so she wanted attention. Kept saying that she was doing these things with this photographer, and he's coming over. We're going to do a shoot tonight while you're gone. So I actually figured out how to turn my computer into a camera.
You creep.
I know, right?
What an invasion of privacy.
So she texts
his
me.
Place. Is this a chick who moved in on her own?
Yeah.
So technically, I mean, she asked for it at this point.
Well, this is the other chick that moved in on her own.
Okay.
Oh, multiple.
This has happened to me.
You must have nice bed sheets.
I have a tiny, shitty little apartment.
Well,
so anyway,
you're like rescuing them.
I'm out doing some job, and she's texting me that, oh yeah, we're shooting nudes in the bed right now, and blah 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 blah.
And you're sure that this was because she wanted to make you jealous, not because she wanted to like just spell it out for you, so you weren't surprised later?
No,
And you were already on to her. You're not just randomly filming.
So I pull open my phone and check the camera on my computer, and she's just sitting there in her PJs eating takeout food. Like,
what?
By herself, or was she there? Oh boy,
that sounds like heaven right now. I can't tell you how much I'm craving Chinese takeout.
I just wrote back like, "Have fun! I can't wait to see the pictures." And
but I mean, there's a cry for help. It's a cry for help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's obviously not right.
Right.
But her intention is like, well, I got to get this guy's attention. If he doesn't, I mean, it's super flawed.
I know that I am somebody who can seem like I'm really disassociated sometimes, but I think that's the introvert side of me where it's just like I need to have my own time. And if I don't get it, I pull back harder and harder. So if somebody just keeps pushing me like that, all it's making me do is just retreat further into my shell.
So do you think it's hard? Like, what type of girl would you think that you'd be a good match for? An extrovert? Someone who can like give you some energy, but also... I hate to use just those two terms.
I think we choose people that have something that we wish we had a lot of the time. So, like, I've dated a lot of extroverts because I wish I had their extroverted energy.
I wish I had a nice ass. I've stumbled upon. But I hear what you're saying.
But I just got to spend time with somebody who was very free and very, like, just open to experiences, traveling, and what was great about it was the time we got to spend together, but knowing that we were then going to go our different ways, and just the security that she had, I found very attractive. And I've just thought to myself that whole time that this is the kind of person that enjoy spending time with the most. But part of that is the fact that it's, we have our own things.
Yeah.
It's built in that you've got your own things. And
Yeah.
Do you think you're commitment phobic?
No. I'm fine with relationships. The last long-term relationship I had, I thought we were going to get married. Even though I don't really believe in marriage, I didn't want to be pushed into it.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I wasn't ready to commit, because in my mind I'd already committed. I just didn't want to get rushed through the process.
They want that rock.
Yeah. And that is an introverted thing, that like you really have to take your time to wrap your head around all sides of the equation. Like you take your time in making decisions, and like pressure not helping.
Yeah, pressure just shuts my brain down.
Pressure forms diamonds, might you add, which is something but that's true, right?
Yeah,
the Chinese
absolutely.
have created the perfect diamond, by the way. It's dry. It's killing the diamond prices. It's killing De Beers. I think it's great. Diamonds are going to be like $5 pretty soon. I think that's. I mean, don't you think that's a good thing that they're taking away? Anyway,
Sure.
Doesn't it like rain diamonds on some planet in our solar system?
Yeah, they're just crushed coal. That's all it is. You got your coal for Christmas, or if you didn't do Christmases as a kid, right? Sorry, you get coal.
My first Christmas two Christmases ago.
You're like the guy. You're like an Adam Sandler movie right now.
I've been out.
The Jehovah's Witness that comes is like, dude, Christmas is great. We just get eggnog and rum.
I hate Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's why I haven't done it, because I've been out of being a Jehovah's Witness for a long time.
What do you hate about it?
I don't know. It just gives me this like
Icky feeling?
Icky feeling.
Like the consumerism?
Yeah, the consumerism,
Yeah.
the bad music, the bad.
No! Oh, we can't be friends anymore.
Mic down.
Oh, Christmas music is my soul.
All I want for Christmas.
Day after Halloween, it's Christmas music for 2 months, because 1 month is not enough.
Well, we know what time of the year we can't ever hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, I turned the wrong
It's
mic
gonna
down.
be- it's gonna-
I've been trying to turn Tasha's mic down. I keep turning your mic down. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't hang out November, December ever, because
Tasha
that's the
does the
only music that's going to be
pre-Thanksgiving.
in my car.
She goes after Halloween
I
like
love-
a psycho.
No, but you know what? It's a nostalgia for me,
Well,
because
Thanksgiving is just a warm up for Christmas, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
100%.
actually in that order?
Just
I
expanding
can
your
never remember
stomach.
the
Yes.
dates of
What was I asking? I'm sorry I brought Christmas for the Jehovah's up,
Yeah.
but was it before that? We were what the fuck was that? Introverts and oh, it's diamonds. I'm just rewinding. People
Yeah,
listen.
because I got us completely off track with my love of
But
Christmas
we're
music.
talking. Geez, yeah, I'm so fucking lost with what we're getting into. But the idea that the commitment that you want from the diamond ring, and you thought you were giving that commitment, and a lot of times, it's like if you're an introvert or not, and I don't even like those terms, because I think I do so many super introverted things too. I think I need both sides of it.
Yeah, it's a
balance.
spectrum.
Yeah.
But like you go on trips where you're pursuing your thing, and it's the girls, they just want to feel like they're also number one. I mean, Tasha, like, I can't do 3 shows in a row without, I have to, and I'm guilty of this, but I have to have the date night scheduled, or else it's like, it doesn't matter that I've done 4 years of date nights. It's, where the fuck are you this week? You're going to go get
Right.
oysters with Darren, but we're not doing date night? Fuck you. And in my eyes, I'm thinking, I'm bleeding my eyes out, trying to get my side gigs, my this gigs. I'm writing a
Right.
pilot. I'm doing all these things. People are subscribing to the podcast, rate, review, share, all these things. I'm trying to, and then it's like, yeah, well, I guess that, that's, you don't always make the woman that priority, and it's for the best intentions.
But maybe she is the priority in that situation, because you want to be a stable boyfriend.
That's
that
how
can-
we think
Right.
as men. Well,
Yeah.
it's like, Tasha, I'm not bringing the bacon home. Like, I can live on such lower levels of, you know what I mean?
I think so
single
many-
life, I spend so much less money. I thought relationship I was going to save a few bucks, move in together. No.
Relationships are expensive.
No. This is an expense. I mean, fuck kids, right? That's an expensive. A relationship is expensive. To the point where, like, it's like, oh, Tasha, get whatever you want to drink. I mean, Moscow mules are $13. You fucking kidding me?
Or just, like my ex-girlfriend had a lot of money, so she would want to go to eat at Nobu. And even though she claimed that, she wasn't making me buy her dinner all the time, I'm still having to, like, pay my half and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I wouldn't just let her pay for me all the time. So it elevated the cost for me a lot.
It's like balling out with that buddy who's like, just got the trust fund. He's like, bro, Joey, chill out. I can't get the next round like you did. And Tasha makes more than I do, and we're well aware of that. I don't with what I do with stand up, I mean, like, I'm all in. I'm okay. I'm all right. I see where I'm going. But it's like you ain't cashing that first check till you're the CEO of the company in some instances.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's the man has to be the one who's like, like Tasha loves to travel. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, babe, I love to travel too, but I also got to go to Bakersfield to not get paid to try these jokes out on some Republicans. You know what I mean? Like you have to, like, it's very complicated with, we wanted to like go away, but then I'm like, well, I applied to this comedy festival in North Carolina. Didn't get in, by the way. No straight white men got into this thing. 1,000 submissions. There's like 3 white dudes. It's not
a bad
easy
year
to stand
for
up.
straight white men.
It's stand up. I mean, for photography, you get the shot. My friend Bianca, she's a black chick from the Czech Republic, and she's like, "Oh, submit to Laughing Skull, you'll be fine." I was like, "Do you know I'm competing against?" Anyway, I digress. The point is that like I'm well aware of what I'm doing, but like I can't always. Last year she wanted to travel and go to Greece, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" Do you not understand the stress that's putting on me? We made something else work, but it forced a tough conversation to be like, I want these things too. I want to travel the world too. But we're just going to drain ourselves because we're not doing it on the dime of the podcast or the things that, I was mentioning last night. There's my YouTube channel. It's hilarious. I just started monetizing it 3 months ago, and I'm up to $10. But I'm like, I'm loving it. I go, babe, I didn't do shit today, and it made 44 cents. Yeah, that's nothing. But you add a couple O's to the end of that, and you go, oh shit, we could potentially, because we already live on such low level. We already create. If we get this to the right numbers, podcast included, we can travel the world doing this, meeting fun people. Like, we wanted to go to Hawaii to see you. That shit crazy. I was like, is this guy going to murder us? Do we Google him? What are we doing?
Yeah, that really almost happened. It really did. But then it was like I had to, because it was the first week of March, I was like, okay, if I plan this right now, I can just schedule it and then say I'm not available because none of my clients have like booked March yet, right? Yeah. So I was like, that's my way around it. But like he was busy and I was busy, and then stuff came up for that weekend in March. So it was like,
eating the donut.
Oh, give me a bite.
I didn't get any napkins or anything.
I'm just gonna watch.
We're just gonna lick our fingers.
Donut.
I'm really sorry.
We're gonna go like.
Do you want an apple?
No. We're gonna go for like 10 or 15 more minutes. Is that cool with you?
Do I have time to use the bathroom?
Yeah, go use the bathroom. I'm gonna hit pause real quick. You good? You need anything? You good?
I'm good.
Home stretch here. What the hell were we just talking about? I busted the donuts out and it ruined the flow. I always talk about.
Got you guys started on a back and forth.
Yeah, well, I always talk about my sugar addiction, and I do give myself some cheat days. I am down like almost 20 pounds, and I'm worried. I don't know if it's necessarily healthy weight, but I'm finding, giving myself that cheat day, but don't sneak it back into every day. I have to know that this is not allowed on a daily, because if I have that one, mini Reese's PC or whatever, then it just opens the floodgates. It's just fucked. Yesterday we had these Mr. Holmes Bakery. Have you had that before? Could you sit close? Could you pull the mic close?
Oh.
Sorry.
Are we talking on the?
Yeah, we're gonna go right back into it.
I thought we were talking and waiting for her, and then we were gonna go.
They all get it. They all get it. We just took a bathroom break. I didn't. I'm crossing my legs. If I can we'll just get to the end here. We usually just go an hour, but it's been a great conversation, and I have no clue what time we started, but I think we're like an hour and a half. But so it's interesting. You talk. We talk about dynamics. You're going to sneak in, or there you go. The dynamics of like figuring out what we want in someone else versus ourselves. So you've just made the conscious choice to not seek something that might slow you down from.
Well, I know that I'm not somebody that is good for somebody else right now. Because I'm focused on my career. I'm starting a photography agency that I've been working on for the last 2 years. I'm only home 4 days this month. And I'm traveling like that. I'm not coming back until April, May.
Where are you going, China?
I'm going China, New Zealand, Peru.
Dang.
And now how does that work? Is that something you do on your own and you bring the images and you say, hey, you should look at these, or do they?
Each one's different. Okay. So China, I'm actually hosting a TV show for NatGeo.
Cool.
And then New Zealand, I'm going to be in an ad campaign. I haven't fully booked it yet, so I'm not going to say I'm going to be in it.
Right.
And then Peru, I'm going to visit somebody and shoot some photos just out for my own company. The advertising agency is an adventure storytelling company, so I've been working for a lot of tourism bureaus, traveling all over the world. I'm not really in a position to be a solid boyfriend for somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
And if you don't
and
want
it's
that,
important to
then you don't-
know that
Yeah.
like that's a limitation for you right now.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to mislead someone about like your priorities. Like right now your priority is your work, and like there will come a time when it won't be that way. Maybe.
Right. Well, if I get this advertising agency going, the whole point is that I'm sending other photographers out to shoot these jobs, right?
Is that something that's live right now, or is
yeah,
it?
it's
called
90%
Access.
Access Collective.
Boy, I did my research, didn't I? Tasha, did you know that, Tasha?
No.
Access Collective. So you basically want to help other photographers get to do what you do.
Yeah,
Almost
and-
franchising this like brand that you've kind of like found works for you.
Right. We go out, we tell a story of real adventure. We get the influencer marketing on the campaign. We, for instance, I'm doing Utah a lot this year, and they get 350,000 impressions, depending on the package that they buy. They get.
You say Utah, you mean the actual tourism department?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they also get, the photos that they're going to use for advertising. And I also have a videographer along, so they get a video. And then we help it go viral because we have connections with media agencies and companies. So, like, the video goes up on this blog or that. And it's just this kind of full package way of looking at something. But the whole point is that we're National Geographic photographers or people at that level that can shoot advertising quality while actually going and doing something and
Yeah.
not faking it, because
Not
I'm
being
so
a
sick
team
of
of
seeing,
30 and a big deal. You can slip in.
whether it's fashion or photography or cooking or whatever it is, it's all fake on Instagram now. And so it's trying to like bring some authenticity back to it.
Cool. That's very cool.
So anyway, that's why I know I'm not good at dating people right now.
So how do you look for photographers? Do they come to you, or these guys that you met through work?
I know a lot of really great people, and if I see somebody really good online, I'll reach out to them. I'm at the point now where I'm kind of going beyond the NatGeo people, because I mean the only real different. I know people who should be NatGeo, but they don't have the political know-how to get themselves into the company.
How did you get in there?
I kind of got lucky. I actually had no interest in being a NatGeo photographer because I'd met a few and they were complete dicks.
Dicks?
Totally.
Just smug with their little lens, their French
Really?
beret.
Well, like I took a workshop from this guy, Jay Dickman.
Jeez.
And before he'd ever seen my work, he looked at me in front of the whole class and goes, "You will never be a photographer. You should quit and go do something else."
No, he didn't.
He did.
What's jeez.
Why do you think that? Why do you think? Do you think he was trying to teach you something?
I think
He
because I was
trying
a
to
cocky-
prove to yourself to be driven.
I think I was cocky,
Yeah.
and he didn't like that.
young,
Young.
good-looking California kid. Yeah,
We get it, Tasha.
No, keep going.
Your hair. He doesn't like your ass the way you carry your hair. All right.
So anyway, like at the end of it,
Is he like an older dude?
older dude,
See, dudes, we're just we're tough to
legendary at
younger,
NatGeo,
like
great photographer. At the end of it, we're going through our portfolios, and there was this guy before me who he kept saying was going to be a great photographer. Well, he was there, like sent by the U.S. military to learn war photography from him, and so he goes through that guy's portfolio, gets to my first image, and goes, "See, this is why I'm telling you, you're going to shoot for NatGeo," thinking it was still the other guy's work.
wow. That's
And
cool.
when he found out it was me, he skipped through the rest of it and just like,
wow,
What an
a
asshole.
compliment though. That's a cool
I really don't know what the problem was, but that ruined my taste for NatGeo. And then years later, I was helping my brother on this project on a place called Cocos Island. We were there to just kind of film this little tourism thing and saw shark poaching happening. And so I went back, and my next job was helping on this IMAX thing. I was shooting stills for an ad campaign, and there was a NatGeo Explorer there, Wade Davis. And so he heard my story about the shark poaching and how I was planning on going back, and it just kind of unraveled from there. NatGeo was interested in trying out younger people for something called the Young Explorer Grant, and I ended up getting the first one, and then I ended up getting published in the magazine out of that.
Amazing.
So it just
What
kinda-
month? You got to know month of the year. You don't remember?
It was the China issue a while back.
Cool.
Yeah. And
So a little bit of experience, but right place, right time. You weren't sitting on your
But
ass.
I only
You were-
took that job because I knew Wade was going to be there.
Yeah. Cool.
So I believe in creating your own luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you have to actively be out there, at least doing something in that realm. You know, you can't if you want to get into stand up. Sorry, that's the world I know. You got to at least go to the club and start talking to the comics, and you realize, I can do this. And you got to get to know the photographers, and which must be tough because you're trying to get to know how to. You know, these guys. I'm sure. How isolated are they? They're on boats and little. I just imagine the guy with the little the fake leaf blanket on top of them, whatever, just waiting with his camera and maybe do you have to pack heat in the? I mean, don't you have to have a gun out there? You're just like sitting in a cave waiting for the bear to eat the salmon.
No, I mean,
my idea is probably so far up. You're not waiting for the bear to eat the salmon. Just you with like an Elmer Fudd hat on,
or you just go to where you know bears are eating salmon. I mean, I think that it's played up a lot. There are the photographers that go hang out in a hide for 30 days.
A hide. That's what I'm thinking of. A hide. Yeah.
I don't have that kind of patience, so I just go where I know I'm going to find something. And underwater, you can kind of predict a lot more. Oh, there's schooling hammerheads on.
I was going to say you have a great hammerhead photo of the hammerheads.
Oh no!
How are you not shitting yourself in your wetsuit at that point?
Or I wasn't wearing a wetsuit.
Okay, there you go. No wonder you like to be. No wonder you like to be nude. You got to shit your pants with the hammerheads approach. Evacuate the system. That's your defense.
I got another story for you there, but yeah, I mean, with the hammerheads, that trip was the first time I'd ever swam with a big shark. I'd only been in the water with one other real shark before that.
What kind?
I think it was a silver tip it was something I just came across in Bermuda, like one time. And then we went out to Cocos Island and I was like, we're going to go see the hammerheads. And I'm free diving. I'm down about 60 feet and hadn't seen any yet. And a hammerhead comes around the corner. And this thing's like 12 foot long, you know?
Dude, no thank you.
And so he just kind of comes around. I'm holding my breath 60 feet down. He circles me a couple times like, oh, wow, I see one. This is amazing. And he takes off. I'm like, oh, yeah, I need to breathe. So I start going back up. And another one comes around the corner. So I stop and I'm like checking him out. And, oh, yeah, I need to breathe. I start working my way back up. And then next thing you know, 1,000 more come around the corner, and I'm just in this school of hammerhead.
You're not worried about you're worried about breathing, not getting eaten alive.
I totally forgot about breathing at this point. I'm just hanging out there. They're swimming so close to me. I'm running my hands down the side of these sharks and down the bellies. And
wow.
In that moment.
And is that the shot that I saw?
That was same place, different time.
Okay, so
yeah, but so
that's just like a place where they're migrating, or
so they kind of migrate through there, and then they go to these particular areas to get cleaned by the cleaner fish that come off. And they typically hammerheads don't hunt during the day; they hunt at night, and they also don't hunt when they're in school like that. That's kind of like social dynamic time.
Okay.
Although
you could call it hammer time.
Although,
hey folks, that's it for me.
That's why
hammer time.
But I did one time see a cleaner fish getting a parasite off the like cheek of a hammerhead, and the hammerhead just goes bites him and just eats it.
Dude, that's like
we're told that doesn't happen.
That's a relationship in a nutshell. One person's trying to smudge you, gets a growl.
We just did, and I'm sure you heard about this. Thing for Royal Caribbean. We went and shot for Royal Caribbean, and we had this one with whale sharks.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I fucking hate the ocean.
What?
I fucking hate it. I hate the ocean. And I hate sharks. And it was, I literally, my heart rate, I must have burned 10 million calories that day because my heart never slowed down the entire time.
I wasn't afraid of the whale sharks. I was waiting for the hammerhead.
But that's exactly it. It's like there's, we know so little. Yeah. We just do. We know so
Fear
little about the ocean.
comes from not knowing.
Yeah.
Right? So once you learn about something, you can start, you're never really afraid of something that you know a lot about.
Yeah.
How did you get to this hammerhead village? Like, did you boat out there, or was it in a lagoon?
We boated out there that time, but I spent 3 years working on that island, and I would swim out sometimes. And it'd be like a mile and a half at times, and this is one of the densest shark populations on the planet. So you start getting really comfortable.
Did you have any close scares where they...
I got bit once. Yeah.
Really?
Bit by a shark?
Yeah, I was filming a feeding frenzy at night. And there was about 300 sharks, small, little white-tipped reef sharks that you consider pretty much non-aggressive. But one of them mistook my foot for a ray because I was wearing a fin.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't really even his fault. You know with these sharks, if you stay above them, that they're looking down into the reef, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I was following one school, stopped paying attention, and another school came from the reef above me, and I was sandwiched between them. So I kicked him in the face a couple times. He let go. Another one came at me, and I had to bonk him away.
And at that point, you're bleeding.
I'm not actually.
Oh, he got the fin.
He got No, my whole foot was in his mouth.
Oh my
but
gosh.
it was only the fin that took the damage.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it
super
doesn't take
lucky.
long to look on YouTube and see these videos of like a guy backpedaling from a shark like hundreds
If this
of
was
yards.
a bigger shark, it would have been a big deal. But it was just like a little 6-foot shark.
Oh, only 6 foot. No big deal. No issue there. Jeez, I can't go in a lake because I'm afraid of turtles. Turtles will fuck you up.
Lakes scare me more
Lakes
than the
scare.
ocean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Lakes?
I'm so much more comfortable in a lake.
Now eels.
I hate eels.
Water moccasins, snapping
Water
turtles.
Boom. Done.
But they're leaving me alone.
No, lake, and it's way more dense, and you're in their environment.
Creepy stuff.
I
in
had
there.
one close
Giant
call with a
catfish.
catfish when I was little. I had a close call with
That's
a
the most
catfish.
Kentucky thing you've ever said. I had a close call with a catfish.
No, but they will suck you down.
Yeah.
They're way strong. So like if it grabs on you and it can suck you down. So
Another
like,
reason not
everybody
to
has
swim
it.
naked.
Now, I'm not sure if this... Sorry, that was
Another one.
I'm not sure if that's ever happened to anyone, but it's one of those urban legends that I was told as a kid, too. My grandmother had a lake in Ohio that we'd go spend a couple weeks at. And we'd go out and we'd catch water moccasins. And we'd see giant snakes and snapping turtles and stuff. And so that's what I remember of lakes. And then the ocean, every day after school, my dad would pick me up. We'd go out 10 miles in the boat. We'd jump overboard, spear dinner. So I'm fine with the ocean.
Yeah, it must just be about your experience. I always felt
And it's
very
more buoyant.
comfortable in
There's
the lake
something.
as a kid.
There's something there in the ocean. I think that humans
Yeah.
are more natural in.
I can't not see my feet. So I'm good in the ocean until I can't see my feet.
Right.
That was weird. That was weird when we were the whale sharks. Is that you just after like 20 feet of visibility, it just went into murk.
Well, that's
And
why
I
the
was-
whale sharks are there. You're probably in a bunch of plankton or phytoplankton.
Yeah,
Or,
they literally all come. There's two spots. There's a spot in I think Thailand or Vietnam, and then there's this one spot in the Yucatan where they just guaranteed you.
Yeah.
But it's like a 2-hour boat ride, and then
Yeah.
they just know like this is the vein of algae or plankton or whatever the fuck, and then that's where they come. And sure enough, we just partied with them all day.
But like you go under the water and like you spin 360 and all you see is black. That is so scary. Like something could just sneak up on you.
It could.
Hammerheads could just sneak up on
And
you.
also, like, the local guide definitely bit his tongue a few times talking to us, and I was like, he knows something. and even the mangroves, too. I was like, dude, there's got to be barracudas in these waters and there's got to be that. It's like an estuary kind of vibe. I was
no,
like,
but you could see that, so that's
Crocodiles,
totally
maybe.
fine.
I thought crocodiles. I've seen crocodiles in Mexico.
yeah, I've
When I
had a
was
few
in-
close calls with crocodiles, once in the ocean and...
Now, is that more worrisome as a
Oh, yeah.
just because it's a little less I don't know
Because I don't know as much about them, for one thing, but I had a crocodile snatch my camera out of my hand once. I was in the water photographing bull sharks swimming up a freshwater river in
got like
Costa
a
Rica.
Captain Hook moment here.
Yeah, and my camera just moves, and I look down, there's a crocodile mouth on it. And
They're fast. And
They're
they're
just
just strong
sneaky.
jawed, sneaky,
Yeah.
and they just latch at. They're just that
Oh,
reptilian,
my
like you
God.
don't know what
So
what
did
they're
he
doing.
let go, or did you
Yeah.
let him eat the camera?
I turned the camera to try to photograph the inside of his mouth, and I think the fact that I was going in and not pulling away kind of scared him, and he took off, so I jumped back in the boat, and then we saw him come up later. It was a good over 15-foot crocodile.
Oh my!
How long does it take to come down from that moment where you're just like, holy shit?
And like, do you get back in the water?
I did not get back in the water there. I found a spot where I was very protected by a fallen log, and so I hid in the log. But I ended up building a boom so I could just push the camera down into the water.
Yeah.
I've been begging people, if there's any cartoonist who can just turn this into a cartoon. I've just seen you in a log
Seriously.
with a little crocodile coming up. Somebody draw that for me.
Seriously.
I've had like 4 or 5 close calls with crocodiles now, and that's an animal that I'm good just respecting from a distance.
It's a good conversation when we have to get out of here, but we didn't even get to the
No.
crocodile stories.
Can we keep going?
We gotta go.
Part 2?
I gotta go pee. I'll wait to pee. Yeah, you'll have to come back. I mean, I know you're not here often, but will you come back again and talk to us some
absolutely.
more?
Yeah.
We've already come on the closer side of 2 hours.
Wow.
About an hour and 40 or whatever it is. I don't know where we're at. But so basically, by having the company Access, I'm sorry,
Access Collective.
is that an Instagram too for that or?
On Instagram, it's Access Campaign.
Okay, so but by having do you what kind of gratitude do you feel or to be able to help other people kind of create this.
I mean, the whole reason I started the company is so my friends and I could go have funded awesome trips places, and that's basically how it's working out. So
I'll podcast from the boat. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what we
I've
do.
been thinking about doing a podcast with it.
I'll tell you everything you need to know. You'll pass me in 2 days. You gotta go have the crocodile moment, and then as soon as you get above water, I'll just be like, hit the record button and be like, so what happened? You know, I was hiding in a log. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this sounds good. My war stories are always like, some bitch heckled me, and you're like, I'm hiding in a log that had fallen. I hollowed it out with my left hand and fought off a hook.
Flat.
Yeah, that's a flat tire. I call that a flat tire. And stand up when you start talking and you don't know how the sentence ends and you don't hit it. Flat tires, folks. But yeah, so it's definitely come back and how can people find you? Your Instagram is Ben Horton Photography.
My adventure Instagram is Ben Horton Photo.
Okay, Horton Photo.
That's the like travel and adventure stuff. The
guys want to know the one with the titties.
Yeah, so my fashion Instagram, which I've stopped really shooting fashion, and I do some art stuff on that now, is BFH_photo. I took my name off of it.
I'll put those in the description if you want. I'll put them so people can find out your stuff.
It's interesting how taking a man's name off of an Instagram account covered in women has made it grow so much faster.
Yeah.
That's why she's the thumbnail of this video. She's the thumbnail, and then they get in a hello, and then they get. But that's the thing. Yeah, the internet. People don't know what they want necessarily. Yeah. You give them good content, and then they find out this NatGeo guy didn't like you.
Yeah, well,
they don't like dudes that look like they've had it easy in life.
And there's certain people in NatGeo that really don't like the fact that I also shoot this art stuff. So that's one of the reasons I've just separated it.
Every industry has snobs. The aficionados. Yeah. Oh, you shoot people too? No. We shoot primates.
Only landscapes. Yeah,
we just do crustacea.
They want you to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, it's go with it.
Yeah, you got to take it as like, hey, well, I guess I'm doing something right, because that's all it is. You don't get your troll till you're doing something right. Anything you need to promote, Tasha, before we get out of here?
We missed one. What's the fourth Instagram?
Oh, that one's secret.
Oh, okay.
That's my personal
Instagram.
only. There's only 100 people following me. Yeah. I actually created it just so I could see a feed that was just my friends.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
well, thank you.
I'll tell you guys when we're not on air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being on the show. We won't get out of here just yet. We trail off. I wanted to tell people, if you liked this episode and it provided you value, I sound so gay saying that. if this, I'm asking people to share episodes they like with their friends. If you enjoyed this story that we've had with Ben on, talking about ways to travel the world with your passions, this and that, share with a friend. Tag them on the Instagram. Do whatever you have to do to share this link with a few friends. Let them know about it. As we continue to grow the audience, we get to do cooler things with new people, and we really get to expand.
We get to go to Hawaii to record a podcast and Peru.
Yeah, I'm making I don't know, man.
I'm going to go to Machu Picchu.
I'm making a podcast boat. I'm going to row out there and be like, dude, I did this dude's podcast once, and he rows out to underwater camera.
Maybe just like a log. Just get in the log.
Yeah.
You hollow it out. I'm in it. I'll be your Sacagawea. I'll be your little Native American gondola person. But anyway, no, the point of talking to new people who are doing what they love is like, you say, look, on social media people say, oh, it must be amazing, it's hard work, but you don't work a day in your life when you love what you do, and it's amazing. We all have those 18-hour days where we come home, I'm fucking exhausted and I can't wait for tomorrow to start.
But even if you have an awesome job, there's a reason you get paid to do it.
Yeah,
because it's work.
It's hard. It's work. It's work,
and it's value that you're giving people.
Yeah.
Like a free podcast, folks. That's value that you're giving people. At Ben Horton Photo, right?
Yep.
At Tasha Courtney.
Yep.
At Neal's, DNEALZ. I got this shitty one. And at Sex Actually Pod. I'm so jealous. I got a shitty name. At Sex Actually Pod. Go check that out. Leave a comment. Tag some friends. We'll take a photo. We've got our new little selfie. What's it called? Photo booth that we do. So we'll do that.
Hey.
We'll get out of here. And again, come by next time you're in town, and we'll do this again. Everyone good?
Yeah.
We're done there? And
I was about to start videoing you.
You're gonna do a video, and then it's up to keep talking. So thank you, everybody. This is number 274. We've done this for a long time. You're the first NatGeo photographer that we've talked to, so we appreciate that. And that's the episode, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.